how much leverage do you typically utilise in your spread betting?
Well, I reckon my spread bet, I mean, it's dictated really by the spread betting company. So IG Index is one I use mainly, and you know, it tends to be sort of like 20-to-1 leverage on a big FTSE 100 company, so you have like 5% margin, I think. And on, say, FTSE 250 companies, it's 5 times leverage. So it's like you have 20% is margin and you have 5 times leverage. So overall, over my whole sort of like spread bet portfolio, I think I'm usually about 5 times leverage.
And what would your advice be to people about leverage? Would it be that that's a good figure, or?
Yeah, you know, the main thing with leverage is you know, 10%, 20% is probably okay. But the most important thing, and the thing that people don't get, is you need to understand your exposure. So if you've got a share that is 100 pence and you bet £10 a point on it, your exposure is 10 times 100, so it's 1,000. So it's like you had £1,000 worth of shares. And you've got to think of it as a normal share. Always do that thing either on your mind or work it out on paper. You know, work out what your exposure is in the market. So many people just don't understand exposure in spread bets. And I just think if you're doing spread bets and you don't understand exposure, you're wasting your time. You're just going to lose money.
How do you determine whether or not to use spread betting or traditional brokerage for your investments?
9 times out of 10 I'll use mirroring. So I'll buy shares, then I'll buy a spread bet. What tends to happen that slightly changes that is sometimes you can't do a spread bet in something. So you'll have a company that's so small that they don't offer a spread bet in it. So sometimes you can only buy shares. But generally speaking, I find IG Index are pretty good. I can get pretty much any share I want with them, really.
So if you're determining whether or not you're going to use your spread betting or your brokerage for your investments?
Well, it tends to be that I'll buy normal shares, then I'll buy a spread bet at the same time. So it's like I tend to do both together, really.
So you have to make that decision?
Not really. Okay, occasionally I might have a situation where I really want a share and I don't have any spare money in my ISA to buy it, so I might just do it as a spread bet only. But those are exceptional circumstances.
So talk to us about your strategy where you buy companies as a normal share, then you mirror the position on spread betting. Does it work for you?
Yeah, it works a treat. So it's basically back to that sort of theory that if you're looking for 10% gain a year on your portfolio, if you create another portfolio as spread bets, where you're getting exactly the same exposure. So say, for instance, for an individual stock, you have, say £5,000 of, Vodafone or something. You just get £5,000 of exposure of Vodafone as spread bets, But the difference is, so where on that one you're making 10%, on your spread bet portfolio, you're only going to make 7% or something like that on your exposure. And the reason is because of financing charges, because they charge you LIBOR plus 2% or whatever the figure is. But the difference is it's leveraged. So your actual return on capital, so it may only be 7% on the exposure in the spread bet account, but your return on capital is massive. It's like 50% or higher. So it's really capital efficient. I mean, I actually have this discussion with friends and that. I sometimes think, well, why do I do shares? Why don't I just do spread bets? And theoretically that is possible, but it's probably a lot more dangerous to do. I think the good thing of shares keep you grounded in a way. It'd be very easy to get carried away and get too much exposure in your spread bets, and if something goes wrong, you're in big trouble.
Now you add to your winning shares using spread bets, is that right?
Well, yeah, I mean, what I tend to do is I'll buy a normal share position, then I'll buy a spread bet one as well. And then sometimes I'll just add to it as spread bets, or I'll add to it as shares, or add both, or it sort of varies a bit depending on where the funds are.